The key to following a low-carb diet successfully is knowing exactly what foods that you should be eating and why. In this video, I'm going to help you understand just that. Hey Wellness Warrior, I'm Dr. Zyrowski, and when we look at the core basics of following a low-carb diet, we have to make sure that we're avoiding sugar and starchy carbohydrates that are going to break down into sugar in our body. Now, all the foods that I'm going to talk about today are associated with having a lower amount of abdominal fat on your body when eaten, so that's pretty cool too. Let's go ahead and start with eggs. Now, eggs are highly underrated. It was thought for years that you should not eat eggs because eggs are going to raise your cholesterol and do a lot of bad things for you, but we know that that's not true today. Eggs have good healthy fats in them, a good amino acid profile, so lots of good proteins. Also, they are only 70 calories, which is great. Now, one of the key factors that not too many people talk about when it comes to eggs is that they are great for satiety, okay? And this is actually a key to following a low-carb diet. There's studies that show that when you consume eggs for breakfast versus toast or bagels or any of the other junk foods that many people have in the morning, if you consume eggs, you consume fewer calories throughout the entire day. Why is that? Because you met your nutritional needs and also you are staying full for longer. And one of the keys to following a healthy low-carb diet sustainably for a long period of time is making sure that we are getting the right nutrients, hitting the right macros, and that's the key to good health. Because what we want to accomplish here is we want to feel full, right? We want to fill up, and not on junk food, but fill up on good healthy food that meets our nutritional needs. We want to fix our metabolism, and we also want to crush cravings and hunger. And so we can accomplish this with a low-carb diet versus all the other diets out there, like a standard American diet, which is going to do the exact opposite: destroy your metabolism, create more hunger and cravings, and set you down a bad path. And we all know statistically the diseases that this leads to over time. So that's why we want to be on this side of the spectrum following this diet. Next, let's talk about Brazil nuts, because these are really good. They lower inflammation, they're good for your thyroid, they help your hormones, they're good for brain support, and they also are very low carb. They have a good amount of protein and also healthy fat. So this is why I add them to our list of some of the good, healthy, low carb foods that you should start eating. Now, fatty fish is next on our list. Now, fatty fish is great. One of my favorites is actually salmon. We're gonna get lots of good omega-3s, DHA, and then it is a very clean source of protein with zero carbohydrates in it, okay? So if we want a good, healthy protein that is going to make us feel full because we have that healthy fat in there, but also because we hit that high protein mark, this is what we want to turn to. Now, we can also look at things like grass-fed beef. It's also good. But we have to make sure that we're hitting the adequate amount of protein that our body needs every day, because this happens to individuals all the time. I see it clinically. What happens is because you don't hit your protein needs, you go and you binge on foods that you shouldn't be eating. So all of a sudden you're hungry all the time because of low protein in your diet, and then you turn to carbohydrates typically. So we want to make sure that we don't make that mistake and we're getting adequate protein, because if we have adequate protein, this also is going to meet that satiety mark that we're trying to hit as well. Now let's talk about MCTs. MCTs are great, and this is something that is digested differently in the body compared to like an olive oil. And MCTs are going to be able to be used for immediate energy by the brain and the body. And when we look at some of the studies on MCTs, they are able to create fat burning in the body far better than other oils or fats such as olive oil, for instance. So MCTs, medium chain triglycerides, are a big go-to. They increase thermogenesis and calorie burn in the body, and that's pretty awesome. When you use MCTs, and this is a side note, many people react poorly to using it in an oil form. So if you found that it didn't sit well with you, use a powder form, and I'll put a link in the description below to one of the powder forms that I go to, because I'm one of those people that reacts very poorly to an MCT oil. For years I wanted to get the benefits, but it would never work for me. It just caused a really bad stomach ache. So anyway, the powder form is the better way to go if you're reactive to it in that way, because you still want to get the benefits from it. You want to put it in your coffee, your tea, whatever, and make sure that you are getting the fat burning and energy boosting brain benefits it offers. Now, flax seeds are great. Flax seeds are loaded with good healthy fats, low in carbohydrates, but also it's a good soluble fiber. It's good for your gut. So there's studies out there that show when you consume flax seeds, it's associated with having a smaller waistline. So I like flax seeds as a part of this because we're hitting that high fat mark here as well. Now, as we go over to the fruit section, this is important because everybody, when following a diet, trying to follow a healthy diet, will have cravings for some sweets, right? It's gonna happen over time. And so what you can turn to is berries, right? We don't want the big fruits like bananas and mangoes and pineapples that have higher amounts of sugar in them. We wanna stick to the berries, which are more micronutrient dense, but also low glycemic. And then another good fruit is an avocado. And I know that we don't think of that in the fruit category very often because it looks like a vegetable in every way. However, it is technically a fruit and it's loaded with good healthy fats and something that you can easily implement in to your diet because it's satiating and will help hold you over. Now, there's a really interesting study on a low carb diet that I want to leave you with. And there was 19 obese individuals and they started following a low carb diet. Within 4 weeks, their cravings and also their hunger went away. They no longer crave sugar and carbohydrates nonstop like they were before. And this is important because we're emotional people in a world with a lot of junk food in it. And we are going to have cravings and we're going to have hunger if we are consuming the wrong foods. So what the study shows is that if you start following this healthy low carb diet, those cravings and the hunger goes away because you essentially rewire your brain and you no longer want those junk foods. Your body starts looking for healthy, more nutritious foods, and that's really cool. I'm Dr. Zyrowski, and if you like this video, I think you'll really like this video over here next.